Hola familia, it's Alex. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. As you guys can see from the title, today I'm just chilling. This is a chill video. Clearly you could see by my attire and my hair. Super chill, laid back. This is mainly a video for those that want background noise, that just want to hear my story of how Leo came about into our lives. This is not a makeup tutorial. This is not showcasing anything new. I'm just using my Project Pan products just to come up with a simple look. I'm not going to tell you guys about the makeup because that's not why you're here. If you're watching this, it's because you want to know how Leo came into our lives. So I'm going to tell you from the beginning all the way to the end. This is why I have a t-shirt on. I could care less. My hair is a hot mess. Yes, I am showing up on the World Wide Web looking a hot mess, and I can give two hoots about it. I did do my nails again, so that is nice and pretty. So if that's something that you guys want to hear, keep watching. Put me in the background while you're cleaning up. I decided to put it up on today, on Friday, because I figured most people were either having food coma, did not feel like doing anything after the holiday, were tired from shopping from Black Friday. So you just want to sit back and just hear something, or you just want to have some background noise while you're cleaning up or having fun shopping. So that's why I'm here. I decided to do this video specifically today. So if you were looking for something else, click on out. Don't even leave a comment. Just click on out. I'm good. We all good up here. All right, you guys. So I'm going to start from the beginning. So then that way, and I'm just going to do my makeup. Like I told you, I'm just going to use Project Pan products. It's nothing new, nothing out of the norm, you guys. It's the same old thing. I don't even know if I'm going to keep this makeup on for the rest of the day, but I just wanted to do this video for you guys because I know it has been highly requested. First and foremost, I just want to give you guys a background of Mr. Man and I. Mr. Man grew up with one pet that did not belong to him. He only had one. It was a small little toy dog. It belonged to his brother. It was gifted to his brother from grandparents. So it was his brother's dog. So Mr. Man, you know, loved the dog, cared for the dog, but it wasn't really his dog. So I, on the other hand, basically grew up in a farm. Not a legit farm, but I mean, my aunt was a lover of animals and she lived with us for a very long time. So anything that was a stray, did not have a home, she's just always been the animal lover. Not that I'm not, but I mean, she's hardcore, and my sister inherited that. My sister currently has a dog and two cats, just to put it out there. But my aunt would bring home any kind of animal. So let me run down the list of pets that I had growing up. We had fish, guinea pigs, bunnies, hamsters, turtles, cats, dogs, birds, yes, parakeets, and a cockapoo, the white bird, I forget what it's called. That we had a ton, and the majority of them were adopted. The two cats, the last four pets that we had up until 2016 was when the last pet died. We had two cats, two dogs, all in one shot, and the two cats I inherited, I adopted. They were mine. I picked them out. And then the one dog, our one dog was a family dog, and she was also adopted. And then the fourth pet was a purebred Shih Tzu. He was actually gifted to us, so we didn't buy him. Somebody else did. They didn't care for him, so we ended up taking him in. And he was the last one. He actually survived all the other animals. He was the very, very last one to pass away. And I think he passed away in 2017. So it hasn't been that long. So that's my background. So Mr. Man has always wanted a pet. Me and him always wanted a pet. But every time we thought we were ready for a pet, we end up having another child. And we didn't want to have an overwhelming feeling of having a pet and small kids. So we kept holding off. And we knew the kids would benefit from having a pet because I've loved pets. You know, they teach you empathy and compassion and love for a living being that isn't like your siblings, something to care for, feed, make sure they're okay, they need to go to the bathroom if they don't feel good, so on and so forth. And it's not too much where it's like a baby, basically. So we kept thinking we were ready, and nope, here comes another kid. Then we decided that we were going to sell our house. We were homeless for a while, and then we moved into this house. And when the beginning of this year, before the pandemic hit in January, Mr. Man officially said, all right, we're ready for a pet. And once he gave me the okay, I was running for it. Now, before I get into my journey of 2020, this is before the pandemic and before everyone and their mom decided to adopt pets. I want to let you guys know about where I live. Where we live in this state, if you look it up, in the state of New Jersey, we have the harshest laws when it comes to pets. when it comes to buying a pet and when it comes to adopting a pet. It is so hard in the state of New Jersey. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of how it goes. I don't know if any other state goes through the same protocol, but I mean, just picture adopting a child. That's how hard it is to adopt a pet here, like a puppy in general. So in the state of New Jersey, we do not have pet stores. Other states may have it, I think. I don't know. We do not have pet stores in the malls. We do not have pet stores anywhere. We do not have pet stores, period, end of story. That's not something that we do. We do not sell pets like that. Puppy mills are very slim to none around in the state of New Jersey because they've shut them down. We don't have that. So imagine not having that option. So it's very hard already to purchase a pet. And it's a good thing and a bad thing. You have your pros and cons to everything. And then now you have two different type of entities where you can adopt a pet. You have your county rescue, where it's funded by the county of where you live or surrounding counties in the state, or you have a nonprofit, which they're the ones that can get animals from other states, bring them into Jersey to be able to get them adopted. The majority of the nonprofits are that way here because if you look at our local shelters, they are very, very, very low. Like you barely have any pets in our shelters because we don't have that many. Like at least down where I live, it's very hard to adopt at a shelter because there's not many pets to adopt, which is a good thing. I think that's a great thing. I rarely see any stray dogs. I rarely see any pets that don't have homes. Like where we live, it's pretty good. They got a good life around here. I don't know, again, if it's like that in other states. So we were having a hard time. We always wanted a puppy, not because we wanted a puppy, blah, blah, blah. And the fact that, a puppy, you can train them, whatever the case would be, what other people say. We specifically want a puppy because we had small children and we knew that having a small puppy would benefit from all of us because of my kids' personalities. Some of them just don't take well to changes. And it just would work out in the end. It would just be easier that way than adopting a pet that's already in its way, set in its ways, and it'll be harder to adapt to our family. If it was just me and Mr. Man, it would be a different story. But because we have smaller kids, we have to take that in consideration. So back to January, he's like, all right, just start looking for a pet, start seeing a dog. We wanted a dog, even though I love cats too. He's never had a cat, so he's always thought that they were boring, which they're not boring, trust me. So I started to look and do my research, and I started to put in for pets, like little puppies and things, for areas that were where we live. There's not many places, so we would have to drive a minimum of 45 minutes to an hour to just adopt any animal. So for us, we already knew we had to drive, which was fine. And anytime I would put in to adopt a pet, like we had everything set, blah, 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 we would always be turned down, constantly turned down. And I'm going to tell you why we kept getting turned down. Even there were some nonprofits that literally said on there, if you have X, Y, and Z, don't even bother submitting your application. And it's like, you're wanting to give a pet a good home, and you're making it so difficult for those that can and are willing to do it. And I get it, they're doing it because there's people that ruin it for everyone. But my goodness, it was such a pain. It was hard. It was so hard. So a few of the reasons why we were being denied. One, we had children under 10 years old. Another reason is because we didn't have a fenced-in yard. Another reason is because those that were volunteering in the nonprofits we were out of their driving range to physically drive to our home to do a check to make sure that the puppy was good enough to be in our home. Those are the three main reasons why we kept constantly getting turned down. And I said, you gotta be kidding me. I just want a pet. Like, we're a good family. Why are people denying us constantly? So then one of the individual ladies told me, she's like, well, how about you broaden your horizons, and how about you go to a local shelter, like a shelter surrounding areas, and see if maybe you can adopt a dog that's older than a puppy. So I'm like, well, okay, let me see. I didn't want anything over a year old because I knew I had small kids And some of them just don't do well with certain changes. So I had to keep that in mind. So I'm looking, and if you follow me on Insta stories, you knew about this. I never mentioned it on my channel. We ended up finding a dog that was they told us he was a year old or so. And we went to go see him in April of this year. And we're like, all right, well, let's give it a shot. So we adopted our dog, brought him home. And the main reason why I didn't want to do this in the first place is exactly what happened. We brought him home and we gave it a shot because we wanted to give it a shot. We really did want to adopt a pet. We wanted to go that route. We knew we wanted to go that route, but it just became so hard. So when we brought the dog home, our son was just not having it. He was just getting constant anxiety over it. Our son just did not take well to the change because he was already a grown dog. So our son just was not having it. I would find my son eating his snacks and stuff in his room because he was trying to avoid the dog at all costs. It was giving him anxiety really bad, which was then giving me anxiety, which was then giving the dog even more anxiety. The dog was also, they warned us that the dog seemed to have a liking towards male figures and was attached more to the male guys at the shelter. And sure enough, that's exactly how it was here. He just would follow Mr. Man everywhere. When Mr. Man would leave the house, he would like freak out and panic. The dog almost ran away twice. It was just a hot mess. And I was losing weight. I was losing sleep. I was constantly upset because I couldn't get it together. And I knew this was going to happen, but we figured let's give it a shot just in case. And it just did not work. So we ended up calling the shelter, and Mr. Man and I were so heartbroken because we felt like we let down this dog because we were trying to give him a second chance. He had never been adopted. He was a dog out in the streets, so he never had a family. So I felt so bad, and I literally cried nonstop. My eyes were so swollen. Mr. Man even cried because he felt bad, but it was just the best thing for our family because we just didn't, it was either the dog or our son, and we couldn't let our kid just live like that. It was just not healthy for anybody. So we brought him back, and the good thing is at least the dog, they knew more of who the dog was better for, who the dog was suited for best, and who to find. So when they put him back up for adoption, they could, specify who he should go with. So that at least we helped him out there. So we brought the dog back, and I told Mr. Man, I can't do this again. I'm not doing this again. No. Please, we're not getting another dog. I can't. It has to be a while for now. So we just stopped. We didn't even bother. We just stopped. We're continuing living our lives. Summer comes. We're enjoying our summer. Going to the beach, relaxing. I didn't even think twice about it. So here comes August, and I remember this day very vividly. We were riding our bikes around the neighborhood, and then Mr. Man out of nowhere asked the kids, like, what do you guys want, a cat or a dog? And I just like literally almost fell off my bike. I'm like, you're revisiting this again? And he's like, well, I was just wondering what the kids want, because I always told them that cats are a lot easier to maintain. They're less of hands-on. They're self-sufficient. So we were split 50-50, and I'm like, okay, I guess he must have revisited this. I let it go. I didn't say anything. So then it comes another month, and this is around like September, and I ask him, I'm like, so what was the deal here? This is the beginning of September. And he's like, well, I'm just curious, maybe now that we know officially that the kids are going to be home for virtual learning because of everything going on, maybe this is the right time for us to get a puppy, because that way we can, do what we have to do with it and not have to worry about it being home alone. I'm like, all right, well, if you're going to give me the okay, I'm going to run with it. So this time we were already warned because a neighbor across the street and a friend of ours had just gotten puppies from themselves, and they were running through the same problem. One of them actually has already a dog that she adopted from a shelter, and she was still having a hard time adopting a pet. So they gave up and they ended up buying their second dog. And she bought it in Pennsylvania, and then our neighbor bought their dogs in New York. Again, because it's so hard in the state of New Jersey to adopt a pet or even become a breeder. It's so hard. The laws are just so tough that they had to get out of state. So I already knew I had to drive out of state. So I'm like prepping him. I'm like, we're going to have to drive out of state if we're going to want a dog, because there's no way that anybody around here is going to do it. So we are sitting by the fire pit one night and chilling with my sister there and her boyfriend, and we're just sitting there. And I asked him again, I'm like, all right, so what kind of dog do you want? We've always wanted a boxer because of how the dog is. Like, we already researched it. We knew about it. We could handle that breed. So I thought about it. I'm like, well, do you still want a boxer? And he's like, well, I don't mind having a boxer. I'm like, okay. So I looked up online, and it so happened that I found an ad in the newspaper for boxer pups that had just been born. I remember it was September 14th, the night of September 14th, because the dogs were born the second week of, like, they were only a few days old. So it was like 9 o'clock at night, and I'm like, is it too late to call? And he's like, well, it was a Saturday night, and I'm like, I want to call now. He's like, well, wait till tomorrow. I'm like, all right. So I wake up the next day. It was a Sunday. I woke up at 7 a.m. and I'm like, do you think it's too early to call the guy? And he goes, well, if he wants to sell the pups, he's gonna pick up. I'm like, all right. So I call the guy up, and I was like, is it too late? Because I know, here it's so hard to find anything. Is it too late to even ask to see if you have anything left? And he goes, well, typically by now I would have told you, yes, you called too late. But he goes, I have 2 more left. I was crossing my fingers for a boy. And he goes, and they're both males. I'm like, done. I'm like, what do they look like? So he goes, one of them is just a regular fawn, which means it's like the brown coat with the black face. And then he goes, the other one's a flashy fawn, which is Leo, which he has the white on him. And I was like, I want the white one. And he goes, okay. I was like, well, how does this work? So he goes, well, I have a family coming today to visit one of the pups that they already bought. If you want, you can drive out here, check it out, make sure that this is the dog you want, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, all right. So I told Mr. Man, it so happened that he was off. Like, I'm telling you, everything worked out. He was off. So we decided to take the drive out to meet the pup, and the kids fell in love. I mean, fell in love. And of course, Mr. Man couldn't say no, so we left a deposit, and they told us that we would get them around Halloween. They just had to make sure that they were all grown up and safe. We met the mom dog, we met the dad dog, we met the kid, like everyone in the family we met. It was so nice. We were so, so excited. And these dogs can run quite a few $1,000s, and we lucked out because it was actually not that expensive for us. So we had budgeted for it. So it actually worked out in the end for us. We were so, so happy. So that's how we ended up with Leo. Is it just so happened to be our moment, our chance, because we did not think we were going to get anything, to be honest with you. I thought we were just going to look, and it was going to take us a very, very long time to find a pet, and it did not. So now we have our little pup, and he is spoiled rotten. And the fun, not that it's funny, but the interesting thing is when I was looking at how to fill out an application, like what to say to be able to guarantee that you can adopt a pet, like there's actual articles on it. I read an article about a woman who, there's 2 different instances where she filled out application after application and kept getting denied. And she basically wrote this article stating that you're denying, these rescue places are denying people that are actually good candidates for these dogs, where she ended up doing the same route we did. She kept getting denied and denied and denied. She ended up buying herself the dog that she wanted because no one else would allow her to adopt. And she made a point, like, here you are not really giving somebody an opportunity to be able to give a dog a happy life. And that's exactly our story. Like, we tried and we tried. 4 months, you saw this. We started in January. We did not get Leo until the end of October. So that's how long, we kept going back and forth trying to figure things out. It was not an easy task. And I didn't even tell the kids because We did not want to be disappointed, so I didn't even tell him where we were going when we first were going to go see Leo. We wanted them to be surprised just in case it did not work out. But it worked all out in the end. Leo is an amazing doggy. He is so well. I mean, we got lucky. With this dog is spoiled rotten. He is the best dog ever. I love him. We all love him. Mr. Man's obsessed with him. We all think he's an awesome dog. Could not be happier. Could not be happier with this pet. And I already told Mr. Man, I'm so spoiled with how Leo is that I do not want to replace him. Done. Once he passes, that's it. I don't want another pet. I just want to have him as our memory, as our only dog, as it. He's just so good to us that I can't. And the dog's only 12 weeks old at this point. 12 weeks old, and I'm already thinking that way. No, I'll get a cat. I'll get a cat once he passes. That way I could just have something. But yeah, he is such a good dog. The kids love him. And my son, who we again thought he was going to be skittish, was not going to have it, was not going to care for the dog, was going to be like anti-dog. He literally lays with him, loves him, adores him. They both are literally best friends. I mean, it has changed. It helped my son with his, should I do it? Should I not do it? Should I care for not the dog? Like, he's not afraid, and I love it. Because he was always like that with any other dog. He was just like, yeah, I like you, but you're licking me, go away kind of thing. And with Leo, it just changed him, which is so good. My oldest is obsessed with him. She now has more responsibility. She takes good care of him. She can care for a living being and adore him. And she loves to talk about him. She loves to show him off to her friends. So it all worked out. I'm so happy. I know this is looking like a hot mess, so don't worry. I'm just happy that we were able to find our pet. It took a very long time, but this is our pet. And I know I wanted to make it very clear that we genuinely did want to adopt. Like, that was our goal. That was what we wanted. Our neighbors have a pet that's adopted, and we asked them where they went. We drove over an hour away to adopt the dog that we did originally adopt. That's how far away we went just to get a dog from a rescue. Like, we tried. We genuinely tried. But it is so difficult here. So difficult here to adopt. It's ridiculous. I mean, ridiculous how much you got to jump through hoops. And I just can't believe that we live on the end of a street where our yard is all wood. You guys have seen it where I showed you guys on Insta stories. Still, nope, we would have to spend thousands of dollars to put up a fence just to pay $75 to rescue a pet. Because that's how much it cost us for the one dog that we did rescue. $75. So I would have to pay thousands of dollars in order to rescue a pet, and I just couldn't. We don't want a fence. We love the fact that we have no neighbors behind us. It's all woods. Like, why would we need a fence? The dog's safe. And Leo, he goes out in the back, and he is good to go. He knows we are his parents. Like, he loves it. And the dog has such a good demeanor. He already knows how to sit. He loves his crate. He sleeps all night. He goes and pees and poops outside. I mean, we've trained him where he now pees and poops in the woods where we don't walk. So we don't have to worry about picking it up. It just sits back there. So the dog is so good. Like, if you're ever considering a pet, obviously not everyone is for a dog, but I mean a pet in general, whether it be a fish, a turtle, a cat, a rabbit, a hamster, they really do enrich your life. They remind you that empathy does exist and compassion does exist. Let me just put my hair up because it's looking like a hot mess for you guys. It's looking like a hot mess. That's all I wanted to do today, guys. I just wanted to use some of my stuff. Look, yeah, I could put on lashes, but I really don't feel like it. Find a lip product, shall I? Yeah. Do lip gloss. Actually, let's not put on lip gloss. Why? Because I know most of you guys are probably like, "Aw, you didn't bring him up." So let me go bring him up. He's not allowed up here. The dog is so good, we don't have any baby gates up, and he knows he's not allowed to leave the kitchen. He like stays there and waits for you. So this is the first time he'll be upstairs, which I hope does not ruin that for me. But I'm gonna go bring him upstairs so you guys can actually meet Mr. Leonardo, aka Leo, so you guys can see all the goodness that I have here. He's your mama's baby. He's your mama's baby. Here he is. Say hi, Papo. He's your mama's baby. He's your mama's baby. He's excited because he hasn't been up here. You are heavy. Yeah, you are. It's your mama. So here's Mr. Leo. Look at that face. Look at that pretty face. It's your mama's baby. So you guys can see he's gonna get big. He's already 12 weeks and he's probably over 20 pounds at this point. I won't be able to carry him much anymore. But you can see his markings. This is what flashy fawn is. He has such a good demeanor. He's such a good boy. He's so patient with the kids because little miss can be mean sometimes. He's so good. He's such a good papa. Mira niño bello. Ese niño de tu mamas. Ese niño de tu mamas. Ese niño tan precioso de tu mamas. It's my babies. See, right there. Say hi, papas. Hi, the babies. You want to say bye? You want to say bye? You're the best. You know that? Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're the best. You're the best. He's like, what is all this smell? I've never been up here. Well, I'm going to get going. I'm going to put this little baby downstairs again. I hope you guys enjoyed my story with our little baby bear right here. Thank you guys so much for watching and for understanding and what happened? For understanding and for knowing why we did what we did and why we did not adopt and we actually purchased him. But either way, I've adopted many pets, so it's not like I'm against it. It's just our circumstances. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. And that's okay, as long as the pet has a loving family. Right, Papo? Ay, qué lindo ese niño tan bello. Thank you guys for sticking around, and even though my makeup look was but still, I just wanted to hang out with you guys, so. I will talk to you guys in these videos right over here. Until then, bye guys. Oh,